Hey everybody, this is Dan. I wanted to put together a video lecture because I wanted to try out this cool Echo 360 video technology we have, and also I want to put together a series of mini desktop lectures to try to frame up the topic for the week. So we'll see how it goes. I hope that it's not too scary. This week we're going to talk about capitalism in general, and we're going to look at some history. It's not the cool stuff that everyone wanted to talk about on the discussion board, the Apple and Facebook and digital technologies, but we'll get to that in good time. I think that, understanding the economic framework under which the country operates is pretty important as a starting point for the class. There was a historian, Carl Degler, who long ago said capitalism arrived on the first ships in North America. And the readings this week really expand upon that idea. The long reading is by Thomas D. Bacco, and it's a nice, concise history of the Plymouth colony and Massachusetts Bay in the 1600s, and how this North American or this European style economy started. And so, go ahead and read that and pull as much information as you can out of it. And before you do that, please go to the resources folder. There's a sheet I put together, or a web page, that is definitions and glossary. And in there, the major economic systems, capitalism, socialism, communism, are defined. There's some other definitions in there that you should look at. And go ahead and read those over. And I think that will help enhance the Bacco reading, because you'll understand what capitalism is if you don't already know, and I think most of you do. So please take advantage of those definitions. I think that this is sort of a controversial subject, and certainly ingrained in our society is this notion that the U.S. is a free market economy, a capitalist economy. And to a large extent it is, but it certainly isn't a pure play. There are elements of socialism in our economy, such as Social Security, unemployment insurance, Medicare, now affordable health care, that sort of thing. And these are all very controversial subjects. If you are a political nerd and following the election, those are the subjects of debates, that so-and-so is a socialist. These are all controversial topics. But if you look at these definitions, I think it sort of brings it down to earth a little bit. There's been a bastardization of this word socialism. It's been closely associated with communism, but really it shouldn't be, because if you look at the definitions, you'll see that communism defined eliminates any private ownership of property whatsoever, and certainly we're not close to that. I'm not here to tell you that one system is better than the other. I think that there are certainly inequities in capitalism, and I think when we look at the history of the country, we see how those inequities have played out. Certainly in the Gilded Age after the Civil War, with people like Carnegie and Rockefeller and industrialization, we have seen the government, through the people, try to rein in the excesses of capitalism with anti-monopoly and trust busting and some of those regulations that have come about. So think about all this stuff as we move forward. When you do the reading, try to pull out some subtleties about how religion plays with capitalism, perhaps, and maybe think about gender, and think about those who are left behind. And even in the 1600s, if you really read between the lines, you start to see that there's sort of a dominant capitalist class arising. So think about that, and if you can identify any of those things, put them in your discussion post. Regarding the discussion post, it's going to be a little difficult, I think, because we have a full class now, maybe for some of you to come up with an original idea or an original response. There is a rubric out there, or a set of standards, for what I'd like to see in the discussion, and that can be found in the Start Here document, and I've also reiterated it at the header of the discussion board for this week. And it basically talks about making sure your post is substantive and what that means. So try to follow those rules the best you can. I know with so many people in the class, it might be difficult to not reiterate what someone's already said. And so we'll see how that goes. If it's difficult, we'll change the way we do things moving forward. Also, I may not be able to get back to each one of you now that we have so many people in the class, but I will be reading every post. I'll be grading every post, and I will pull out things that I find interesting or things that I think have gotten a little bit off track. So I'm looking forward to reading everyone's post. I know that the first week when we talked about what a history of business in the U.S. should entail, people had great ideas, and I was very pleased with the responses and very interested in the way you all thought about this stuff. So throughout the semester, think in the back of your head, even though we're going to get into some technology and other stuff, this idea of whether or not capitalism is sustainable and equitable, and if it isn't, how adjustments have been made to the system over the years to make it more equitable. I know as a person who's been an entrepreneur that this idea of free market economy I like, because if I invent something, if I invent the next Facebook or the next Twitter, I want to be able to profit from it. But at the same time, excessive profits or profits at the expense of society are something that we all need to be cognizant of. If I own a coal mine or an electric power generation plant in a free market economy, shouldn't I be able to dig as much coal and burn as much coal as I want to profit? After all, it is mine. And it's easy to say yes, you should be able to do that, but at the same time, you're exploiting the environment, you're polluting air, polluting water, possibly exploiting workers. And so, you need to have some sort of balance. And, talking about economic systems, capitalism, socialism is very controversial. And I think one of the reasons it is, or politically controversial, and I think one of the reasons it is because these things are very tough to reconcile. So as you do the DeBacco reading, think about not only the roots of capitalism, but start thinking about equitability. I think even in the 1600s, it's easy to see the haves and have-nots already starting to emerge from the dialogue. If you have any questions about the reading, if you're having difficulty with the post or difficulty with anything else, my contact information's on the website. Feel free to email me, give me a call, send me a tweet, send me a text, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I really look forward to reading your post. I hope you have a great week. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a good day. Bye-bye.